A very cheerful evening, respected dignitaries, judges, audience, and respected opponents. Today, I, Adiba Ansari, BLLB Honours, representing Chanakya Law College, Kumaon University, Nainital, stand before you all to oppose the notion it is not laws but people on the ground who protect the environment. The environment is where we all meet, where we take mutual responsibilities. However, responsibility without accountability is meaningless. And yes, laws provide accountability. They create framework within which public and institutions operate, ensuring that environmental protection is not just a choice but an obligation. As the great jurist Roscoe Pound once said, the law must be stable, but the law must not stand still. Environmental protection laws are not static, they evolve to address the ever changing challenges of our planet. Dear worthy opponents, without laws, who will hold corporations accountable when they pollute river? Or who will regulate industries that emit toxic gases? Or who will stop individual or governments that exploit fragile ecosystem for short-term gain? Who? These questions make one thing very clear. Without laws, environment would be chaotic, inconsistent, and ultimate futile endeavor. Respected sir, allow me to bring some notable cases where laws have been proven indispensable. The landmark case of MC Mehta versus Union of India, 1986, the Honorable Supreme Court declared that right to a clean environment is a fundamental right under Article 21 of Indian Constitution. This landmark ruling ensures that industries dumping waste into Ganga's river were held accountable. Would people alone have able to stop such widespread pollution? Absolutely not. In Fellow Citizens Welfare Forum, Supreme Court recognized the principles of polluter pays and sustainable development. These principles have become the bedrock of India's environmental jurisprudence. Just imagine the harm if industries were allowed to pollute without any legal consequences. In another case of T.N. Goda Varman, Srimulpad versus Union of India, 1996, here Supreme Court interventions expanded the definition of forest and imposes restrictions on deforestation. It is through these legal rulings only that India's forest cover is protected from the rampant exploitation. These cases highlight one undeniable truth. Environment cannot be protected without a legal, robust framework. Furthermore, international conventions had also played a crucial role in binding countries together and sharing goals. The Stockholm Declaration of 1972 recognized collective responsibility of nations to protect environment for upcoming generations. The Paris Agreement of 2015, on another hand, is legally binding international treaties where countries including India committed on reducing greenhouse gas emissions to combat climate change. Article 6 on the Convention on Biological Diversity Act 1992 requires nations to develop laws and policies for protection of conservation of biological. This has led India's Wildlife Protection Act and other measures so much influence. My worthy opponents may argue that people's actions on the ground are enough for the protection of environment. If that were true, then why do countries sign treaties? Why do nations always go for environmental protection? Why? Because laws provide a structure within which grassroots efforts can thrive. Now let us take our attention to Uttarakhand, a state with fragile Himalayan ecosystem and a constant threat. Here, the role is pivotal of law in safeguarding the environment. Take, for instance, the hydroelectric projects on the Alaknanda River. 24 such projects were suspended following Supreme Court order to protect the tile environment. Without legal interventions, the persistent exploitation of rivers could have caused irreversible damage. Similarly, the Chipko movement, though driven by the grassroots efforts of people, owes its enduring impact to the legal changes it ensured, such as the Forest Conservation Act of 1980, which had played a crucial role in curbing deforestation. Really? Could people alone have halted hydroelectric projects or implemented these policies? The answer to this is a big no. Laws have always been the true catalyst for change. My worthy opponents may surely argue that people out of goodwill can safeguard the environment. But the evidence tells a different story. Overcity, deforestation, mining, land use changes, all driven by profit motives. In 2023 alone, global CO2 emissions reached an alarming rate of 36.4 billion metric tons, and wildlife populations have declined in average by 69%, as reported by World Wildlife Fund. This devastation is not the ignorance of the result, but rather the absence of legal profession. Absence of legal profession. As Supreme Court rightly held in MC Mehta versus Union of India, right to a clean environment is a fundamental right, and without laws, this right would be a hollow promise. So, I pose this question to my esteemed opponents. If laws are of no use, then why do we approach to courts when something goes wrong? Why do nations negotiate environmental treaties, or why do policies are always built on legal foundations? The answer is quite simple. Laws are indispensable. To conclude, let me leave you all with this thought. Environmental protection is not a matter of choice, but an undeniable necessity. As Justice Kuldeep Singh, fondly known as the Green Judge, reminds us, pollution and environmental degradation have no boundaries. They must be dealt with effectiveness, and law has to play a vital role. Together, by combining the group together.
For a long time, since the establishment of UN, there was a lot of bias towards the Allied powers after the World War. Until date, we see that there's a bias towards United States when it comes to carbon credits and other economic-based, credit-based concepts that are there in the international organizations. So in such a, status quo, what would your arguments be in favor of this?
So can you please be more emphatic? What's your question is?
My question is...
You interpret his question and now you
Okay,
answer.
The very first, thank you, sir. See, laws are always progressive. If laws are not there, we are not sitting over here. Laws are the only one that bind us. And secondly, you say international conventions, right? See, international conventions, on the other hand, are making laws for their own purpose. For environment, take example, you only said environment, na? Environment only. They are making laws for their purpose, for the protection of their environment. UN is UN. But still, laws are progressive in nature-wise and in working-wise too. Laws are the only one that laws provide accountability for everyone, either peoples, either international conventions.
Thank you. Mr. Bansal? Any other university? Nobody else? Okay, anyway, then we'll give chance to both of you. Yes,
Ma'am, first you mentioned about you made responsible people for the destruction of the environment, as obviously we are the humans who are living in this planet and we have created law. So we are not just saying that law is made, it is progressive, but if it's not effectively implemented, then it's not the law, it is the people who are responsible. Obviously the government is making law. When you say that people are responsible for the 60% destruction of ozone layer and everything, and you mentioned a word, absence of law is there, because of which this is happening. First, there's no absence of law, because there are laws that are made.
Sorry, I didn't mention any way.
Let me finish.
Let him finish and please be more precise.
Yeah. There's no absence of law. There are international treaties signed by the governments and countries everywhere. But my question is, when you say such statements that law is progressive, but if the implementation is not effective, it is the people who are responsible. Means you are saying that law and law effectiveness is not the same thing.
Right.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See, implementation is obviously done by the people. See, implementation is always done by the peoples only, but unless and until we are not bound by the law, we cannot implement or execute anything. So law is the supreme source of implementation too.
Okay. Ms. Joshi, and then 5 minutes over? Okay. Thank you.
Similarly.
Yeah, please.
Thank you, Olivia.